Bev's Video Kingdom is intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion is advised.
I can brag your favorite podcast. Let's start this thing. Woo!
Hey guys, welcome back. Bev's Video Kingdom. Today is Thursday, and you guys know what that means. That means we've got a draft for you guys. I've been getting a lot of feedback from, personal friends, some people I don't know, hitting us up on the socials saying, we need the draft episode. We love the draft episode. I originally was kind of like, the draft is okay, but it's really, people really dig it. I don't know.
I thought you were going to say you had people that were like, come on, dude, can you win a couple more?
I thought he was going to say he got feedback from his wife, very disappointed. Like, here's my feedback. It's negative as usual.
People love the draft. My wife hates the way I draft.
Yeah, she just doesn't agree with many of the decisions that I make. I mean, the only decision that I think she agrees with is the one where I decided to marry her, or she decided to marry me. It was probably the other way around. All right, so we are going to draft today in the spirit of Forgetting Sarah Marshall with some great, hilarious sex scenes. We are doing funniest, most hilarious sex scenes in a movie. No parameters other than you have to think it's funny. I was thinking about a bunch of different parameters we could put on it, but I think this is a really cool category, and I think there's a lot more than I thought. When we first suggested on the text thread, I was like, I don't know how much there is out there, but man, there's a lot.
So since you're hosting, I'm just gonna I'll pinch it for you here. So I can do Game of Thrones, right? Like the Game of Thrones is on the table.
The hilarious, the hilarious sex scenes from Game of Thrones. There's just, I mean, rolling in the eyes.
Drago stuff. Yeah. It's on the table.
I'm going with some Leisure Suit Larry, some video game stuff.
Oh my goodness.
There we go.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so if you guys haven't already, go back, listen to the Tuesday pod. It was really fun. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, as I said before, my favorite comedy of all time. I don't know if that's controversial or not, but go back to Tuesday's pod and listen and find out if the guys think that's a controversial take. So,
hey, and also do us a favor and subscribe and go to Apple Pods and give us a review, 5-star, and then say something awesome in the comments like, man, that Nate, he's just, I can't decide if he's smarter or sexier. Anything like that would be fine.
Just say Nate's voice. Just write Nate's voice.
So we want to actually, have a little bit of variety in the people's reviews. So try not to talk about Nate's voice. Every review that we get.
Then write Brad's voice. Brad's voice.
I would appreciate somebody saying my voice is sexy. I don't know.
You were third, like usual.
I did get I did get a piece of feedback at some point that said that your laugh was infectious.
Oh, really?
I did. I got an infectious Zach laugh.
You've infected so many people.
It didn't have anything to do with the fact that you have bad cold sores all over.
Yeah, nobody wants to use my microphone. That was a joke, guys. Okay, so I was going to do this later on, but I'm going to do it right now. So this is the thing. What we need you guys to do is get onto iTunes. We need you to subscribe to the pod, and we need you to leave us 5 stars or 4 stars or 3 stars or 1 star, whatever you guys really think. I don't really care about the rating, but we need you guys to leave us a review. And what we're going to do when this comes out on the week of November 22nd, we'll give you guys like 20 days. We'll go till December 10th, and every review that has been written from now until December 10th, we will pick randomly whichever one we think is awesome and whichever one says how cool we are. Or actually, if everyone that says how cool we are, we need good reviews. They are sick stickers. We'll shout you out on that pod in 2 weeks. We'll say, hey, Nate Lover 22 or whatever, your review, we'll read your review on the air, and then we will reach out to you, and you will reach out to us on the bevsvideokingdom@gmail.com. We'll get your address, and we will send you guys some stickers, and we promise we will not come to your house or do anything creepy like that.
We might come to your house.
I hope that like multiple people are going to be like, oh, whoever it is, I'm going to jump in and say it was me.
But I'm serious. This is our first promo. We've got shirts in the work. works. We're trying to figure out a way to get this stuff out to you guys because I literally have like 800 stickers and they're just sitting on my desk, and I've already put them like on my skateboard, on my helmet, on
Your son's
my
head.
guitar. Yeah, exactly. My wife's boobs. I put them on anything that I can figure out to put them on. What I really want is to get these things out into the wild so that you guys can start sticking them up everywhere, and we can do a little guerrilla campaign around wherever you guys live. So let us know. We will send you guys some stickers. Once we get the shirts, we'll have another, random raffle, whatever you want to call it, and we'll send out some shirts, and we'll get everybody talking about Bev's Video Kingdom. All right, Mr. Brad, how did we pick the draft order today, sir?
So I was digging through like my nightstand and I found my old Razor flip phone.
Oh, shit.
I had to like
It
knock
was
the
so
dust off.
thin and
I love
sexy.
the Razor.
I flipped that shit open and all of a sudden it was like draft order.
Was that the only razor you've seen in quite a while, Brad?
Because this is not a visual medium.
When he pushes the button, the trombone.
That's a reference to the fact that Brad has some. He looks a little bit like a mid 19th century magician.
What he looks like
It
is
looks like a Western gunfighter.
he looks like a really good looking version of the mask from V for Vendetta. Is what he looks like.
That's what he looks like.
Yeah.
I will say
Two,
that my boss at work is we were actually in a Zoom meeting and he was like, all right, V for Vendetta, what's up?
That's awesome. All right, what'd the razor tell you, Brad?
All right, I flipped that shit open and it said in first, we've got on the reach wrap around Nate.
Oh, finally I get a reacher app.
Yeah.
A
A panda wrap.
That's a new food item at Taco Bell.
Reacher wrap.
A chicken reacher wrap.
Number 2, we've got myself. I will be in the number 2 spot.
Okay.
In number 3, it is Zach, which means that
Dude.
5-time draft
Give
champion
it to me.
Nick is drafting in the 4th spot
Boom.
on the wrap.
Is that just is
me
the
that reacher
universe? I can't tell. Is fourth is a pretty good pick. I feel like the universe is just picking on me now.
I
One
wanted
of these
all
days, we got to go
spots.
back and look at the analytics and see which draft positions have been winning the most to see if there's any
Ooh.
correlation at all.
When we get big enough, there'll be somebody that inevitably creates like a sabermetric style predictor that will try to explain all of our draft averages.
And that person will be Scott for sure.
All right, so here, I have a couple questions. All right, can we clarify?
I like this.
First of all, what counts as a sex scene? Do
Any?
you have to have a P in the V?
Nope.
Okay. Can you be having sex alone?
Oh shit.
I feel like it includes 2 people.
What? Hey, let's not box people in, bro.
I didn't
that's
factor
not-
in
that's
masturbatory.
That's super not woke of you. You know what? Like, we're in a world where there's a lot of self-love.
I'd say it in-
I am
It
not
does.
against the self-love, but okay, shit, fuck it, let's do it.
a large portion of our audience are incels, so I think they're going to be pretty pissed if we say those
Okay.
aren't sex acts.
So that's number 1. Number 2, do we have to actually witness, like, does the sex scene have to be taking place in part on screen, or can it be the aftermath or the preview?
If you
gotta be
feel like-
happening.
you draft whatever you want. It sounds like you're planning a losing draft, so go
Yeah,
for it.
this is a strange way to start us off.
Okay, and can I finally?
Animals don't count.
This is the scene, not the movie, right? So I could like theoretically pick a second scene.
There could be multiple
Yeah, there
scenes
can be
taken from the
multiple.
same movie. Correct.
Shoot.
Nate's going to take the humping dog from Christmas Vacation.
That makes it tougher. I mean, because there's a real concentration of funny sex scenes in a lot of movies, but I don't think there's a clear one-on-one. I'm just going to throw that out there right now.
So you're saying your last question was what? Can you be multiple sex scenes from the same movie? Is that what you're saying?
He was going to try to say, like, I want all the sex scenes from
Oh,
you're
Basic
trying to take-
Instinct.
No.
I was saying, like, say you take one from a movie, can I be like, okay, but I want the other sex scene
Yeah.
in that movie?
Yeah,
I think
100%.
someone else can take another one.
You can do that, but you can't take both at the same
Right,
time. That
right.
would be very Zach.
All right. Well, I don't think there's a one-on-one here. I think there's no clear pick, but I'm going to go ahead and go number 1, the American Pie bedroom chair dance
With Shannon Elizabeth.
with Shannon Elizabeth.
That's my one of one.
I mean, it's there's so many good ones, and that one I think has, you can argue against it, but the fact that he does the dancing, the fact that like, so here's a quality that I'm going to throw out there. It's also a really like hot, kind of sexy sex scene in the sense that it's not like steamy and serious, but I mean, Shannon Elizabeth is fire, and you are like fully in the gym mode where you're like, oh, I'm Jim, and I yes, I might be very awkward with her, but like this is the kind of fantasy that you just have to be able to live out on screen.
I think this is just also just totally giving away our ages too, because this is prime. I think I was like 17 or something when this.
I think this came out. I think when I was like maybe 19.
Yeah,
and I mean it's just. Maybe even earlier than that. I mean, what was it? Is it 99?
Well, I mean, the fact that they had
so I was still in high school.
The fact that they had live stream video that was being broadcast immediately to everybody, I think that might have even been ahead of its time. Like, I feel like would that?
No, that 100% would have been ahead of
live
its time.
webcam.
I don't think. I mean, okay, we got to.
Blink 182 was watching the live stream with a monkey.
With a monkey.
I mean, they cut the Link 80 scene where Link 80 was watching
Link
it too.
80, they were, yeah.
Yeah, 99. I mean, this is early. You really think about it, like, the internet was just like a dial-up AOL connection in like
most folks were dial-up, so, I mean, I guess maybe it's a lot of kids that were like college and stuff. They might have had the T1 lines, but I don't know.
But that movie, I mean, we're going to do that movie on Bev's Video
At
Kingdom
some point,
eventually because
be
that was just such a big deal when it came out. I remember, didn't Andrew's band have a song on the soundtrack and then it got cut?
American Pie. So well, that was the story that we actually heard. It was a off audio the night that we had Flying Blind judging, but they said that they were told by their manager that it has their song is in a key scene in American Pie 2.
Right.
And then 2 weeks later, the movie comes out and we all went to the theater to see it. And we're like, oh, dude, when's the song
coming?
And it does not come on.
We're talking about Flying Blind, and the song was Smokescreen.
Yes, they're big hit, and it was nowhere in the. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's a credit song, or it's gonna be like the second credit song even.
But it is on the soundtrack.
It is on the soundtrack.
On American Pie 2.
It's on the soundtrack, and they cashed some decent sized checks from that soundtrack. But yeah, it was very, very much of a letdown.
Brad's brother in the band and a bunch of our friends go back and listen to the Almost Famous draft.
Of course, our regular
Scotch.
Our regular judge Scotch Beck is the drummer of Flying Blind.
Don't tell Scott I forgot he was in the band.
That's pretty cool.
I think of him as Scotch Beck, the solo act now.
Scott doesn't listen to the pod, so he won't hear it. Wah, wah. Okay, but last thing I'm going to say, just because I want to dwell on this, and I don't value your time. I don't value your time at all. So here's the other thing about this, and this is at least my memory. So the scene's really funny, right? And part of what that does for me is it makes you think they're going to steal away like the sexy, right? And they tease you with it. And then all of a sudden, like, she takes her shirt off.
Yeah.
And you get like real full, and you're just like, this is incredible.
You get real full?
You get real full. You go 6 to midnight. So you get it, and you're like, pay dirt, right? Like, they didn't steal this away and make it just a comedic scene, and then like it's like the next level, right? Like it's it's like you don't know if you're supposed to be laughing or doing other things that would be, inappropriate stuff in a movie theater, stuff that you might.
I was 100% rooting for Jim. I was like, come on.
Yeah, you're rooting for him.
And
everybody was.
You're so disappointed.
It's so awkward and so funny. So if we're going to tell stories about American Pie, this is mine. I had
let's just end the draft right now.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll
just one. This was my one of one. It was a very important scene to my childhood. I had the VHS tape. It wasn't a blind buy, but I had the VHS. I had seen it in theaters, and I was like, this is the greatest movie ever. So all my VHSs at some point, I went off to school. They got packed into a box, put away, blah, blah, blah. We're talking 10 years later, I get these VHSs out, and I'm like, oh, American Pie. I haven't watched this in forever. We're staying at my mother-in-law's house, and she's got like a VHS combo DVD player deal. I throw American Pie in. It kicks on right as that scene ends.
And you're like, I wonder why that.
I do not think that was a coincidence. It may have just been rewound and watched that same scene over and over again.
The tape actually like completely just split apart.
Again, pre-internet, the whole idea that we did not have naked women or whatever you're into at the palm of your hand on your phone.
Literally the palm of your hand. You had to fast forward that shit and find the scenes.
Yes, I remember doing this when I was probably 11 with Basic Instinct. My parents left a Bev's Video rental of Basic Instinct in the house. And you bet your ass I fast forwarded forward and backward through that thing.
If you could take the tape out of that movie and just look at you could probably just by sight, you could see which part.
The whole movie looks great, and then all of the sex scenes look like my copy of Empire Strikes Back that I watched
5 horizontal
snow
lines.
everywhere.
Watched it 47,000 times.
All right, well that's one pick.
Damn.
Who's
That might be the longest pick ever.
Wow.
It's deserving of all the talk, I think. Sorry,
I
go
didn't know
ahead.
there was a 101.
All right, so I'm going with my second pick. Just a plethora of great lines in this scene, and that is going to be Bridesmaids, John Hamm, Kristen Wiig.
So good.
Let me drive the bus.
Dude, all the positions.
Pump the leg.
when she's riding on top of him and his legs are just kicking in the air is the funniest fucking shit.
It's a good one. I mean, it's laugh out loud funny, and two great people, and I think Kristen Wiig might be in a few more of these picks coming up. So.
And then afterwards he just rolls over to, like, the next morning he rolls over to her and he's like, "You stayed the night?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I thought we had rules about that." It's just so awkward.
So awkward.
Nick Bezos.
No, it's you, Zach.
Oh shit! All right,
Zach.
so this is tough because those were good picks. Those were really good picks. Okay, I've got one. I hope you guys don't pick it because I have a good story to go along with it. I'm gonna say my number one pick is funny to me, maybe not to other people, and I am gonna go with Christian Bale and the two hookers in American Psycho. When he picks up the hooker on the side of the road and gets her in the limo, takes her back to the thing, he puts on Phil Collins' Suicido or whatever it's called. Susudio, and he tells the next girl shows up and he tells her to get in the bathtub and he tells her, "Wash your pussy." And he's just like super like just talking about pop culture and just so ridiculous. And at some point,
Well, yeah, he'll be talking about pop culture and then all of a sudden just be like, "Okay, now scrub her."
Yeah,
and
he's
then
like,
he goes back to it.
He's like, "Christy, now get down on your knees so Sabrina can lick your asshole." It's just like, oh my God.
It is absurd. But Zach, I want to give you some props for just announcing yourself on this draft. Like Scott's gonna be like, "Oh, Zach picked."
He's gonna know which team is mine. But I love that movie and I love that scene and it's so funny to me. And I don't think it's like not your typical comedy pick, but I'm gonna go with that.
I laugh every time people get killed. So after the sex act.
Yeah, violent sex is funny.
It's nothing funnier.
He doesn't kill them after that scene. He tries to kill them later.
I'm trying hard to find this on my list, and I just can't figure out where it's at. I don't know.
Gone Girl scene.
I was going to scratch it off, and I just
go back to your number one picks. That's where it's supposed to be.
That could have been my last pick. I'm now learning.
All right, Nikki.
All right,
Oh
Nick.
Jesus! Where we made it.
I think we're 40 minutes in.
Yeah, I don't have the support. I don't have the explanation, but I have a funny ass. I think one of the funniest sex scenes, and there's a couple in this movie, and I am gonna go with the one with Kristen Wiig and Will Forte in MacGruber. If you guys haven't seen the scene, I'm
Give us
sad
a
for you.
play-by-play, Nick.
Yeah.
What happens in it?
I'm gonna spill it as he's pumping. I'm gonna spill it. I'm gonna fill you up.
His moans are just so nasty.
And she's saying, "I'm gonna fill you up. I'm gonna fill you up." And he's like, "Stop talking. I'm the one that's talking." Oh, I'm sorry. And he's making the grossest.
And not to mention that the scene starts with Broken Wings, just the best song.
Well, and it starts with she's fixing up a bullet hole in his leg, and it's deep and bloody. And then right before the music starts, she's getting like the tongs in to get that bullet, and she's getting deep, and he's just like, "That stings." And then he says, "Stop," and he grabs she's like, let me sew you up, and he's like, "Stop. I like holes."
Yeah, it is. I like holes.
I like holes. I like holes. That's what he says. And then they start getting it on. It's hilarious. And then I'm going to reach around and I'm going American Pie, the apple pie scene.
Oh.
Okay. So
give it to me.
I had that on my list, but I think the one with Shannon Elizabeth is much better. But I think that's the second best for sure.
Okay.
Man, I love that one, and I love that you just opened the door for me to, you know,
to triple American Pie this bitch, so you can be like, Stifler.
Oh, Stifler, nice.
All right, Zach.
Okay, so with my next pick, I am going to go from one of that movie is funny.
Squeal.
So I'm going to go with Trainwreck.
Damn you! I thought I was
Schumer and John Cena scene.
I thought I was going to pick this up late.
Where
I can't believe that.
Where John Cena is on top of her and she's like, "I need you to talk dirty to me. Come on, just talk dirty to me." And he starts saying, "I'm going to give you my full pecker." She's like, "What?" And then he's like, "I'm going to give you that protein shake. I'm going to fill you up with my green juice." She's like, "Can you talk about something that's not has to do with protein?" She's just like, oh, he ends up speaking Chinese to her. He tells her.
Doesn't he end up with like a washcloth on his dick?
Oh, and he's just like, he's like, what does he say? He goes, remember the first time I saw you and you had that pizza and you were bent over? And she's like, yeah.
He says you had those jean shorts on.
Yeah, and right when he comes, he's like, and you look just like a dude.
From behind, you look just like a dude.
Oh, John Cena should be in more things.
And then, and then he comes like just aggressively and long.
I think that was like, and he's like, don't move. I think that was like one of his first movie roles that was like kind of in a big movie, and he just absolutely destroyed it. He's so good in that.
Oh, when he's in the theater and he's trying to talk trash to the guys behind.
Oh my god.
It was Cena coming out of his shell as being like the kind of like sheltered WWE guy, like they have to like, and now he's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna just do
funnel them
shit.
right into butt chugging. Yeah, exactly. That is a good scene.
Good pick. All right, so I thought one of those is going to be here for me, but you know what, I'm going to go ahead and move on to, you got to go a little old school. The Brits are always good for their solid dry humor, and in Monty Python, The Meaning of Life, you have one of the silliest sex scenes. A bunch of kids learning about sex education, and rather than just tell them about sex education, they bring in a nice English couple to go ahead and just, go at it on the bed in front of them. And they got to talk and ask questions. And it's just a fucked up, silly, funny scene. The Meaning of Life, Monty Python, the sex ed scene.
I'm going to have to take your word for it, Brad, because that is one I have never seen.
Well, I'm hoping that our judge is a Monty Python fan. I know he's a Monty Python fan.
You're hoping?
You might have just crashed your draft.
You
might have just pandered heavily.
He knows that Scott loves that kind of shit.
All right. I'm going to try. So you know what I feel like? I feel like I'm a poker player here, and I'm trying really hard not to chase that 8-6 offsuit just because I want to be silly.
Inside straight draw.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go I'm going to go Wedding Crashers. And I'm going to go, which scene you ask? Where Isla Fisher jerks off Vince Vaughn under the table.
Oh, that scene.
That shit
just
kills me every time.
It just feels so good.
It feels so good when he's joking around.
It just feels so good when he's joking around. Just so classic, and like,
and her face, and she's like gritting her teeth, and like China's flying everywhere.
And somehow you fully are able to suspend disbelief, and somehow imagine that no one else notices, because you're just like, this is too funny, if and I want it so bad.
So I think everybody knows, this is like common knowledge, but Isla Fisher married to Borat.
Baron Cohen.
Yeah. I think that's like common knowledge at this point, but that blew my mind.
No, it's a secret.
When I learned that at first.
We're dropping that right now.
I just want, TMZ, give me credit. Hang on, mate. I got shit to say.
Okay, say some things.
Is anybody gonna pick another scene from Wedding Crashers?
I mean, did you want us just to lay out our full list?
No, because I had a scene from Wedding Crashers on my list that I wanted to talk about.
What is going on right now? Like,
I just want to know. I don't think anybody else is.
He's like the Niners calling the Raiders. Hey, is anybody taking any more DBs?
I'm not going to pick this scene. I'm not.
Do you guys have any DBs on your plans?
How about this, Zach?
I'll talk about it after.
In the also rans, you can talk about Wedding Crashers all you
I'm
want.
going to. I'm sorry. I'm jumping the gun. I just have a funny story that has to do with Vince Vaughn and Al Official.
Zach's jumping. Sure. He's jumpy tonight, man. He's on.
He's hosting, dude. He's on it.
He's on it.
I got fucking
I just want to know.
coursing through my veins.
What did your wife say before you?
I was just going to say, we need to get Lisa over here. And
say, if you don't get at least third tonight,
she's going to be like, "Who'd you pick first in the sexiest, funny, sexiest scenes?" I'm like, "American Psycho." She's like, "What the fuck?"
She's like, "Well, there's nothing funny about the not sex scene we're going to have at our house tonight." All right, I'm going to go way back in time for my third pick, and that is the Naked Gun sex scene where they do the ultra safe full body condom sex. Just
oh my god, that's right.
So good.
I forgot all about that.
I'd like you to know that I practice safe sex.
Just hold the giant condom. Oh, it was.
I will say I was so young when I saw that movie that I did not get what the fuck was going on.
I still don't get what the fuck is going on.
I think I was like 6, so I kind of got it.
Nate, if you guys listened to last week's pod, Nate was very sexual at a very early age.
I was like 4. I was like, oh yeah, safe sex, I got you. Okay, banana and everything, yeah, I got it.
Oh man, and we are back to me, and we're gonna have to go with something funny. God, there's a movie I want to choose, but I just feel like nobody's seen it, and so it's just not worth it. So let's stay away from that.
There's still some puppets on the board.
All right, so I'm going to go in the same vein as the last movie picked. I'm going to go ahead and go with Hot Shots.
Hot Shots Part 2. Damn.
Not Part 2.
What?
The first Hot
Bacon
Shots.
and Eggs, baby.
No, that's from Part 2. He's going from a different movie.
Bacon and Eggs is
Hot
1.
Shots is 1. The 9.5 Weeks parody with the Bacon and Eggs.
Is in Part 2.
The
It's
Olive
in 1.
Pop.
We're gonna have to Google machine this.
Basic Instinct.
Are you scrabbling?
This is one that I've
going
seen.
dictionary on
I
this
am
guy?
almost positive it's Part 2 where he cooks
Okay.
the eggs and bacon on the girl's stomach.
No, it's
Part 2. I thought
I
it
am
was original.
almost positive.
it's the Italian
Wait.
girl who's Hot Shots. That's the original Hot Shots.
Send us an email.
If he's
at
if he's wrong,
Kingdom.
does he lose a pick? I mean, can we
Well, okay. I tried to figure it out because I knew it was either Part 2 or I honestly, Zach, I will say that in my mind I thought it was Part 2.
Me too.
And then when I looked at the scene, like it said Hot Shots, so maybe they just forgot to add the Part 2.
I would have bet a lot of money until 5 seconds ago. Now you're making me doubt myself.
I'm now we're all doubting, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. I'm taking the Hot Shot scene
It's
in which
great, though.
he is cooking breakfast on her belly.
That girl is so hot, and I was a young man when I watched that movie. I remember I watched it with my step grandfather, and I had rented it probably at Bev's Video Kingdom, and he was like, "What are we gonna watch?" I was like, "Oh, we're gonna watch this action movie." He was like, "All right," and it was Hot Shots Part 2, and it was just absolutely ridiculous. I still don't believe you, Nick. I think that's incorrect.
Nick's
showing me his
Literally
phone.
an egg being cracked on this woman.
He's showing him the internet as though that means something.
Nope, I don't believe you. Take it.
The olive pop is the best because like Charlie Sheen he pops the olive and it goes right into her mouth, and his little look, he's like, oh wow, that was interesting. It's a good one. It's a funny scene.
Which is a parody on 9.5 Weeks, correct?
Yes, 9.5 Weeks. Kim Basinger and Mickey Rourke.
So fucking funny. All right,
Whose turn is it?
it's my turn. Oh,
Zach, come on, Zach. Your draft's already done anyway.
No, I think I'm doing good. All right, I'm gonna go Leonardo DiCaprio and Margot Robbie in Wolf of Wall Street.
Wait, did you say Margot Robbie?
That's
Margot
her name.
Robbie?
Robbie.
Do we call her Robbie?
I call her Robbie.
Call her Robbie.
She's from Australia.
Robbie. Okay, maybe that checks out.
Oh, okay.
It checks out now. I'm going Leo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, Wolf of Wall Street. There's 2 scenes. One of them is.
You got to pick one of them.
I know. I'm picking. No. Listen.
Zach's
I'm just
trying
going
to
say
pull the other two.
other
the 2
scene,
for 1 again.
The scene where he fucks up and then she comes in and she's holding the baby, and then they talk about how she talks about how he's not going to be able to get her at all, and the bear is filming her, and he's crawling in and trying to get there. And that's a hilarious scene, but I don't think that there's actually any sex acts that happen in that scene. So we're going to go with when he first meets her. He takes her, they go back to her place. She comes out just looking absolutely beautiful. And he's like, and then I just gave it to her for 11 seconds. And she's like, did you come? He's like, yeah, did you? She's like, no. And then it just smash cuts. They're in the limo. He's like doing coke off of her boobs and stuff. And they pull up to the thing and his wife opens the door. It's absolutely spectacular, funny, sexy. It's awesome. I love it.
The funny, sexy combo is a good, like, I mean, I hadn't fully decided what was driving it, but for me it's the funny sexy combo. Although I don't know, the Wedding Crashers pick and the Naked Gun are consistent with that, so I'm just talking on my ass right now.
I love that scene. I love that movie.
That's a great pick.
All right, Nick, you got your last 2 picks here, man.
Ribbity rap. Let's see what you got.
I'm not sure how confident you feel so far.
Well, Nick's,
I'm all over the place. I'm not color coded tonight. I'm lost in a sea of just no colors, black and white.
While Nick's thinking about his pick, I will say that we had Nate's 14-year-old son out for the beginning of the draft.
He's 15.
He's 15. He was sitting.
He's almost 16.
He came out sitting at the table with us, and he's like, I wanted to listen to the pod tonight. And we're like, cool. And then we immediately went into all of this insane sex talk, and he was like, this is not what I want to talk to my dad about.
No, we introduced the category, and
we
he
didn't even
bounced.
get into this. Yeah, we were like, this is the category, and he's like, okay. I'm out of here. I mean,
I've been waiting to talk to you about this.
I'm not sure if letting him listen to this pod would be like grounds for CPS to come out.
I don't know, but when you put your arm around him and said, "You're going to become a man tonight."
I'm a very liberal sex thinker, so I'm like, hey, you want to come get educated by a bunch of the dudes that know,
We'll talk about full body condoms and fucking pies.
Yeah, well,
pastry sex.
Just, come here, show up for the pod, stay for the sex ed.
All right, Nick. Sorry about that. I know you're ready now.
Okay, so my first pick's gonna be puppets. I'm throwing Scott of my scent. Give me those marionettes. Give me that hot marionette on marionette action. Team America World Police.
He did. He snagged Brad's last pick.
Wow.
That shit, there's nothing. You can't get it out of your brain once you see it, and it's fucking hilarious to see puppets in every position that they take it on.
Marionettes.
Walter from Last Call saying that he watched that movie with his dad. I cannot imagine getting that scene and how awkward things would be when it's like, okay.
He said his dad was like, all right, I'm going to go cook some food or something.
I knew this movie was coming out. I knew it was going to be in this draft for sure. And I hoped it was going to be me in the 4th.
What does she say? It's like, if you just say it, there's nothing I wouldn't do. I will never die.
And then they bump uglies about as hard as you can bump uglies.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Is there am I picturing, okay, where does the poop come into play? Is it in that scene? Is it the end of it?
He poops on her?
Yeah, he drops.
He does, right?
Yeah,
because I was trying to, and it wasn't letting me.
So the thing is, they were actually going to get an NC-17 rating
because of the poop play.
Just because of that sex scene, they actually had to tone down the sex scene. They had to edit a little bit.
Oh my god, what was it at before? That?
Who knows? But I'm sure it was just insane. But that's been there. Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they've always been like, we will go as far as we can. And then when they say, "Oh, you got to cut it back," then it's like, "Okay, we'll cut it back to what we actually wanted." So it's very smart on their part.
We're definitely going to need to throw the warning on the beginning of this episode.
All right, Nick, final pick. Number 6 might be in your grasp. It's all on this last pick.
Yeah,
because right now you've got a nice little.
So there's only one more pick before my last pick.
That's correct.
Oh my god, Nick, don't fuck this up.
A lot of pressure.
Don't fuck this up.
I mean,
a lot of pressure.
Very few teams have 6 championships.
Fuck. I'm going just ridiculous, and I don't think Scott's got any idea.
Good choice.
I'm going scary movie.
Oh.
I'm going
when he trims his pubes with like a fucking
when she takes off her underwear and it's like the poof and it's just the full on you catch the kind of the bush from like the corner of the screen and he's like, whoa. And then they start getting on and she is performing fellatio on him, and he ends up putting her on the ceiling with the load, to put it lightly.
Blows his load like a shotgun right through her back.
And he's like shriveling up into like a raisin. It's great movie making.
That's classic. That's classic.
Very, very classic.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's a couple of different ways I could go here. This is my last pick. So I'm going to go with one of my go-tos, and you know what?
Your go-to funny sex scenes? Is this one of the ones you just, this is like
just the movie, just the movie in general, that every time I bring it up, you guys talk shit, and I hate you. And
your go-tos.
There was a sex scene in Frailty?
Midsummer? When is there not a sex scene in Midsummer?
Oh my God, Nick. I should pick the sex scene at the end of Midsummer. If anybody's seen it, they're going to know why that's hilarious. Okay. So.
There's a violent death right afterwards.
And then credits.
Literally. It's literally what happens. So, we are going with Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates.
Oh.
The massage scene with Kumail Nanjiani and Sugar Lynn.
I've never seen it.
Dude, it's so funny. So the basic preface is that they go to a resort where they're having an on-location wedding or whatever you call it. And the guy's sister is getting married. And they take the sister, the girls take the sister to go get a special massage, and it happens to be Kumail, and he's like this super like tantric, like Indian, some sort of like sexual warlock, and he just turned. Immediately, like she lays down, she's about to get the massage, and he's just like, okay, now you need to relax, and he just takes off his pants, like she's laying down, she can't see it, he just takes off his pants, and then they just proceed to have the most insane, wild, like Karma Sutra, like crazy sex, and it is so funny. Very reminiscent of the Russell Brand and Kristen Wiig sex scenes in Forgetting Sarah Marshall. It is very good. If you haven't seen that movie, go check it out. That's my final pick.
So I was like psyched about that movie coming out because the four main cast members are people that I just really like.
Aubrey Plaza.
Zac Efron's a beautiful man. Adam Devine is hilarious, and Anna Kendrick is beautiful. Aubrey Plaza is like just everything, and it really, really did not live up.
Man, I really liked it. We even saw it in the theater.
It's something on the pod. Earlier, I think I said this one time when we were talking about this. I enjoyed it immensely, and then can't remember it. Goddamn.
So maybe that's
you got to watch it again. Maybe that's it's one of those ones that like upon rewatch after rewatch, it gets better.
It was surprisingly funny. It was like Melissa and I watched it together. It was just like, oh damn, that was actually really kind of fun.
Dude.
And then
Adam Devine is my dude. I want all the Adam Devine stock forever and ever. Workaholics, baby.
Yeah, hell yeah.
There you go.
Amen.
Okay, so.
You need to wait until I make my pick. So you get the last pick, brother.
God dang.
I mean,
does it matter what you pick? You're going to pick something weird that has like
more than likely. Man, I got two I'm going between, and I don't know which way to go here. And
there's some animation out there, some dirty, filthy, naughty animation.
I mean, well,
I didn't even think of animated.
I mean, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? The patty cake scene.
Yeah,
that's not actually a sex scene. He actually was playing patty cake with her. All right, so I'm going to go with. Oh man,
can't do it.
Okay. I'm going to go with this one, okay? Just because I think it's one of those movies that if you're our age, it was the movie to see because it was NC-17. It was like, oh shit, and it was Paul Verhoeven doing a nasty, raunchy comedy. I mean, not a comedy, but it was Showgirls. Elizabeth Berkley.
It's definitely comedic though,
and this movie is a mess. It's a complete mess of a movie, and of course, being Saved by the Bell kids, like
Jesse Spano.
Jesse's gonna be naked. What's going on here? And then you watch the movie, and it's just an absolute mess. And then the sex scene that she has in a swimming pool with Kyle MacLachlan is just one of the stupidest sex scenes I've ever watched.
It's like the opening scene of Jaws.
Yeah, it's like she's being bitten by a shark, and she is thrashing about in the water like insane. And it's ridiculous. It's stupid. It makes you laugh. I'm going with Showgirls. What's up?
Can we be clear that none of this mattered at all to us when we first saw this? We thought it was the most awesome sex scene anyone had ever seen, and the fact that we got to see Jesse Spanos naked was just it was everything.
Jesse Spano. Spanos are the people that own Stockton. We're talking about Jesse Spano.
No. Jesse Spano was
Jesse Spano.
You're telling me that the character
there
name
was no S.
There was no S.
It was almost like you called Nick's wife Denise the other day.
I hard
past
disagree.
tense.
Yeah, it was Denise. She used to be Denise.
I'm gonna look up Elizabeth Berkley right now just so I can.
They should have just got super meta.
He was as
and just,
confident on that as he was on the Hot Shots call, but he was incorrect on the Hot Shots call. So
I was
I
actually
would
correct.
Google check that.
People are gonna email us at bevsvideokingdom@gmail.com.
We're gonna get our first hate mail. Thank God for Zach's incorrect.
All right, Nate, you got a final pick here. Quit looking at
I do, but
naked pictures of Elizabeth Berkley.
You're right. It was Spano. There was no S.
I've seen a lot of Saved by the Bell, bro.
This is man.
Zach's 1-1 tonight.
Okay, so there's a lot left on the board here, and I'm not going to go through all the ones. The debate. So
there's too many to pick the right one. You know what I mean? So just pick it, hurry, and just like do it.
I'm tempted to go and buy the T-shirt for the band we're seeing. Because there's a lot of good. I mean, Forgetting Sarah Marshall has a lot of great sex scenes. Obviously, it inspired this draft, but there's no one for me that's just like the knockout. And I did ask at the beginning, did we have to have multiple people in the scene? And so I'm going to go ahead and make good on that question. I got to go with the scene in Something About Mary where he clears the tank.
Oh my God.
Damn it.
Gets it all over the ear, and then she shows up at the door, and serendipitously, she was out of mousse.
You're forgetting the funniest part of the scene is that he jerks it to the Mervin's lingerie ad. I don't know, but it looks like the Mervin's lingerie
like
ad.
a local thing. Mervin's.
If you know about Mervin's,
if you know about Mervin's, you
give
are
us
a
an email.
specific person. Let's bond. Let's have you on the pod. Okay, so I'm taking the Something About Mary. I don't know if that's the right pick, but man, there's a lot of also-rans.
Never go out with a loaded gun.
Never go out with a loaded gun. Woogie gives him that just solid.
People get hurt that way.
So Something About Mary, I have like, what age is it appropriate to let your kids watch that movie?
21.
It's a deep one.
It's rough,
you gotta
right?
let it go.
God, I just love that movie so much, and then I think of all the parts that are funny, and I'm like, nope, can't show them that.
We actually talked about watching Forgetting Sarah Marshall with my son. I was like, I don't know. There's some.
I mean, there's a lot of dick immediately.
So I'm not like I maybe I'm an outlier here, as evidenced by the fact that both of my teenage children have circled through this very crude discussion. But I'm like much more bothered. Like I just don't the violence of movies.
Oh yeah, no,
is much
100%.
less comfortable for me.
So I'm the exact opposite. I know that's a surprise to everyone.
It is a little
here.
bit, but I'm like not that I want to sit down with my kids and watch sex scenes. I probably will avoid that, and I generally do feel uncomfortable. But I do generally feel like, you know what, like that stuff. I mean, I guess my attitude is my kids are going to grow up to have sex with people, and I hope that sex is good and interesting. But I hope they don't ever grow up to like blow anyone up or kill them or violently
Or
murder
feel
them.
shame about sex, or feel like that it's like, oh, it's dirty, or it's something that
Right.
sure.
That's exactly the way I feel about it. So I'm a little bit like, I don't want to be like, well, whoa, you shouldn't see that sex scene.
Well, your
'cause
kids
that's
are
just-
old enough that I feel like you could show them like a lot of stuff, pretty much. But and it goes back to what Brad said, is that they have in the palm of their hand like any of the craziest porn they want to watch at any time, right? I mean, they could just search up whatever they want on Pornhub and watch something crazy. But I guess I try and keep my kids pretty sheltered from stuff like that, almost selfishly, because I don't want to have the conversations with like, what is he doing to her? What is happening? I mean, I don't know, man. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, my third child's only 3, and so we're probably going to wait at least a couple of years. I mean, I don't know. Maybe 4. Maybe when she's 4.
Hey, we got a lot of also rants to talk about, so let's go ahead and get to those.
Do we? Because my list is wiped out.
Oh, no, dude.
My list is absolutely destroyed. Yeah, dude. It's written in faded pencil right here.
In my last pick, I was deciding between Showgirls and A Fish Called Wanda. If you have not seen the sex scene with Kevin Kline and Jamie Lee Curtis, he's sniffing her boots. He sniffs his own armpits, and it's just a very funny ass sex scene. And I almost went with it, but did not pick that one.
So there's a couple good ones in 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
The end scene where he finally actually does the deed, plus the very beginning montage where he's like he kicks the girl in the face, which is so cool.
So I thought actually the condom scene when he's trying to figure out the condom was freaking hilarious, and he's trying to blow it up, and he's putting his hand in it, and he's like,
Elizabeth Banks bites his face too. Like, I mean, she's like,
oh yeah. Kingpin, where the
old lady.
No.
So you don't actually see it, but like they finish.
He's just puking.
You can picture it,
and then like she's like knock something loose, and she goes and takes a shit.
Really jarred something loose there, Tiger.
Oh man!
So I got a real quick question about. A real quick story about my next one that I'll mention. Sausage Party.
Yes.
So,
never saw it.
Never watched it. Well, okay, I did watch it, but I was with a group of folks, and I think we got the right enough high to watch the movie, assuming that you probably need to be a little high to watch this movie. And we watched it for about 10 minutes, and like basically everybody left, didn't want to watch the movie anymore. One person and myself, we kind of like tried to stick it out, and after about like 20 minutes, we just kind of looked at it like, are we going to continue watching this? We're like, nah. And we just bounced on the movie. It was just, but we didn't get to the sex scene, which is a giant orgy with a bunch of food, and
it's all food.
It's a wiener having a sex scene with a bun, and at one point the bun's all into it, and then she looks over, and the wiener's standing over with some other food. His line is great. He says, "I'm just over here jerking off with these fellas." And it's a funny ass line, and then all the other foods start having sex with each other, and it's wild. But
it sounds like you figured it out, but you definitely weren't the right amount of high to watch that movie. If after 10 minutes everybody walked out,
bro. Like I really thought we were high enough. It did not work.
I've got so if I'm going to get really off the reservation here, the fake orgasm scene when Harry met Sally.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just iconic. I suppose it's, not quite sex, but I mean, for a lot of people, it's exactly what sex is like. So
I got Step Brothers, John C. Reilly and the wife in the on the urinal, where she kicks her like leg up on the urinal and she starts riding him, and he's like, "Oh, it's slippery! Something's happening!" And she's just, "Woo!
Something's happening!"
Woo! Super bad. McLovin.
It's in. Oh, the McLovin scene is great, and also the Michael Cera scene.
Yeah, I know,
is great too.
I forgot about the McLovin "It's in" scene, and that's actually to me funnier his reaction than Michael Cera.
What about Road Trip, where what's his name hooks up with the big lady?
Okay. So I had actually the anal.
With
when Sean
Stifler?
William, yes. When the nurse,
she got him a prostate.
He's like, "No, stop."
She milks.
Stop, keep going.
Milks the prostate. Oh yeah, classic.
We missed on the Zoolander orgy. That's a pretty classic one
with the midgets and stuff. Oh my god!
So are you guys,
people?
Are you guys fans of Zach and Mary Make a Porno?
Yes,
it's been a long time.
So it's such a good
There's
movie.
a couple you could have chose from there. Obviously, Zach and Elizabeth Banks. Their initial like.
It's so
dancing
funny.
around is
but
so
that
awkward.
scene then gets super like kind of
then it gets
really
kind of
sexy, which is cool. So like it kind of has both those things.
And then of course the poop scene where he gets just exploded on. Vicious.
Yeah, that's a good
Anchorman, Pleasure Town. It's just kind of like
the classic.
Yeah,
American Pie. What's my name, bitch?
Oh, and so I was going to point
right.
to that one, and then in American Wedding, she goes down on him under the table, and there's a funny scene where she's down there, and I think her parents show up, maybe.
And probably the funniest, but also most awkward because I've been in the fucking situation is Jim watching the scrambled porn at the very beginning of American Pie. I mean, scrambled porn was a thing that young kids have no clue about.
It's a real lost art.
Oh my lord, the scrambled porn was legit. Is that a tit?
the all blue body with the white nipples.
And you're like, I just saw a nipple. So here's a question, guys. We talked. I mean, this whole draft is inspired by Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which we talked about on the Tuesday pod. You should go listen. But we didn't pick a scene from here, and it's like almost like it's almost the collection of scenes themselves are all great, but no one scene. If you had to pick a scene, what do you pick?
Jack McBrayer and his girl.
100%. He
just
is
so awkward
one of my favorite parts of that movie.
So I was debating going with Aldous Snow and Jack when they're on the chess set.
With the chessboard, yeah.
And he's learning how to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, so fun.
I actually thought the compilation when he's like depressed and sleeping with a couple different like girls was kind of funny.
Wait,
she's like, hi, and his reaction.
Do you want to gag me? I kind of do now.
He's so disgusted, like the look on his face, like kind of do.
Oh,
now. Yeah.
just
I
classic.
believe in an interview he said that was inspired by a real encounter. Which
There's
is
a couple of
so
things
funny.
that were inspired by real things.
Oh,
So great.
Well, this one, I had the sort of same reaction that like initially I was like, are we going to have enough here? And then it turned out.
Yeah.
And I actually think this is one of those where sometimes we do these drafts and there's just a million lists. Like, Thrillist has a list of 85 things. And this one didn't, there was like, the lists were a little bit thinner and a little bit shorter. And so it wasn't nearly as rich, but I did feel like if I had thought even harder about my favorite movies, I would have run across even more scenes. Because some of these I didn't even come off a list, which is somewhat rare.
You guys brought some up that I think are really funny that I probably would have drafted that I didn't even think of. I've been really trying to come off the top of my head with a lot of these, and it's tough, man. And when you're trying to think of stuff, it's tough. And then once you guys start saying stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, well, what about this? You know what I mean? You start thinking of them, but
yeah.
Nick, I wanted to go MacGruber. But it's just basically a callback. The ghost fucking with Maya Rudolph.
I was really tough to know which one to pick.
The best thing about that is that they bring back Broken Wings. The song starts playing again, and you realize exactly what's about to happen. It's like, oh my Lord.
It's Maya Rudolph's ghost, and he's just butt naked in a cemetery. It ends up he's by himself, not having sex with anything, but he thinks he's having sex with Maya Rudolph.
Yep.
And she's just wow.
A couple more.
In rhythm.
Go, a movie we've done on the pod before. The tantra scene is kind of funny. She's like, did you go? Tantra, baby. And then Demolition Man, the helmet sex is pretty ridiculous at the same time.
There's a scene in a horror movie called Shoot 'Em Up with Clive Owen where he's having sex with the girl from...
it's definitely not a horror movie.
No, it's an action movie.
It's like action movie.
Yeah.
And they are having sex, and while they're having sex, like
shooting
a group
people.
of... Yeah.
Yes.
Monica Bellucci, yeah.
Monica
and then Crank, of course. All the sex scenes in Crank are both Crank and
Is that good? I've never seen
Crank
that.
2. They're great because he has to fuck to stay alive and
Or he has to keep his adrenaline going or something.
Well, he has to keep his heart going, and Amy Smart is game. Once in front of a bunch of tourists that are all taking pictures as they're bouncing around off like the fence and like off the building and just going at it. And then the second one, they're in like a horse race, and they just kind of go at it at a horse race. So
Oh my goodness.
yeah, it's some funny stuff. Definitely played for laughs.
Whatever happened to Amy Smart?
Oh,
She had a good run there.
she had a run. Yeah, she was in, and then she was in Justified for a minute on the TV series.
I haven't watched that.
It's a great show.
I like the main
Oliphant,
guy too.
bro.
Yeah, the Oliphant.
Yeah, she's just fire.
My dad, a big Justified fan. He says it's really good. It's got
It's
the
great.
Goggins in it too, right?
My boy.
Justified's great. Yeah, it's great.
And Lumberg sex scene.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that we didn't go there.
Man, I didn't even think about
That's
that.
a classic.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion of that scene in our Office Space pod. I don't know how we missed it.
Brad, where did we hide the Scotch Beck?
Yeah, so Scotch, you know what? Nate actually has a chicken coop.
Oh, you guys put him in the chicken coop?
He's in the coop. He's roosting.
Yeah. I think he's sitting on some eggs right now. He's doing fine.
We'll go open him up, collect his eggs, get him out here. And,
dude.
He's like
Can you
Smokey.
imagine?
He's like Smokey and Friday.
You think it's a Scotch egg?
A Scotch egg. I was just watching a Binging with Babish today where he messes up doing a Scotch egg. That's hilarious.
That's a high level dad joke.
Holy
right
fuck.
there.
Oh, I try.
High-level dad jokes.
You know what? I had a really good vasectomy story that I was going to tell on this pod.
Tell it.
No. We're gonna save it. We're gonna save it until another
For the
time.
other movie about vasectomy?
Yeah, there's gonna be a time for it.
Snip, snap.
Tonight's not it.
All right.
I've had more vasectomies than you, so I should probably tell the story.
Nate is the vasectomy.
Well, at that
king.
point, we'll have to tell our wager, our vasectomy wager.
I don't remember what it is.
Oh, no.
How
Hold
much
it,
money
hold it. When Scott gets back, we'll all tell vasectomy stories. How about that?
That sounds great.
All right.
Scott will love this.
I love this.
All right. We'll see you in a little bit, folks. Listen to these commercials.
California has the largest population in the United States and the site of some of the most famous true crime cases in history. But there's more than meets the eye to the crime in California. Join Sean, Jessica, and Charles on the California True Crime Podcast, as they cover crime both infamous and overlooked from around our state, while looking at the deeper history that goes beyond beaches and movie stars.
Scotty! Scott! Put down that cock. Scott's coming out of the chicken coop right now.
Get him off his eggs.
All right. We are back. We are going to be judged by the one, the only, Scotch Beck. How you doing?
Fucking got chicken shit all over my face. You guys are dicks. I'm doing great. It's great to be back. It's great to see Brad because he has great taste in film.
Oh.
I didn't want to bring this up, but I haven't been here for a while, but I have been listening.
Strange.
And I have notes.
The
Watching, judging, listening.
story I heard was that Scott for a while refused to came back after he heard our takes on Strange Brew. Yeah, is that true? Is there any truth to that rumor?
Well, I've been sulking. And I don't like to be around people when I'm depressed. I get it. I understand it. I did listen to it. I loved it. And anybody who didn't listen to Strange Brew, you need to go back and listen to it, because even if you haven't seen the movie, it's damn entertaining. And I actually enjoyed the fact that you guys, the majority, didn't like it. It actually made it very entertaining. So if you've only heard a couple pods, which how dare you, please go listen to all of the pods. But go back and listen to it. And just my first thought on Strange Brew was, you guys did not watch it correctly.
Okay, so I'm
how are you supposed to?
Very curious to hear.
If you're not drinking beer,
you got to be drunk.
Okay.
Not even drinking's fine, but you should probably be pretty good buzzed.
I did that.
And at least be with friends.
Did not do that.
Yes.
And watch it with a group of people. Then you can repeat lines back and forth. And because that's how I watched it when I was younger. My history with the movie is also, there's a lot more to it. I heard about Bob and Doug McKenzie from my dad. Randomly, when I remember this, it was so weird because I was a little kid. My dad comes home and he'd heard about this Bob and Doug McKenzie. I had no idea what he was talking about. And this is back
he saw it on Twitter.
Well, a little bit before Twitter. But he actually was talking about how somebody was telling him about this Bob and Doug, or maybe somebody had it and played it for him. And this is back when radio existed, than the way it used to exist. And he called the radio station and requested Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is a weird thing to request,
great.
right? And I remember we were sat there all evening waiting. Are they
Waiting
gonna play
for-
it? Are they gonna
oh,
play it? Are
really?
they going to play it? And late at night, and I remember somehow we recorded it and everything, they played it. And it was off their album. And it was crazy because it's a skit that they do where they're writing this theme song, and Geddy Lee from Rush actually comes on, and he sings this song.
Oh, wow.
And anyway, so I ended up buying their album, and it's great. And we listened to that thing over and over and over again. So obviously, it's very important to me. So I just wanted to at least bring that up, that you can't just, oh, hey, I'm going to watch this movie one random evening and by myself. And so I get it, why you guys wouldn't appreciate it. It's a dumb movie, but it's goddamn fun in the right situation.
You can't discount nostalgia on stuff like this.
That's what we were talking about. Is we felt bad. I felt guilty because I knew that you can't compete with that history that you had, that I knew you had, that I knew Brad had. So I apologized before my take.
It's all good. It's all good, man. But I was entertained with it, and I loved listening to it. So
how many extra points do I get for this week's draft?
Well, it depends on which team it is. We'll see, because there's a very close finish here.
Ooh.
And maybe I will.
Intrigued.
I don't know. I don't like to play that card.
He's like, no, it's not.
Like,
Quick question: How many scenes did you have to look up here?
Oh, quite a few.
Okay, quite a few. Well, not quite a few, but
Refreshing.
But if there was one category to look up scenes and like that just be everything, and you're either dying or you're not, I mean, it's probably a good category.
yeah, It's interesting. What sucks for one particular team is I think there was 3 that I hadn't seen for one team.
Ouchie.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I probably know whose team that was.
But damn it, it's a great list. You guys did a good job, and it was really, really tough in the end. Yeah, I don't know. We'll get into it. You guys ready to just jump in?
Let's do this. I want to hear.
I'm so fucking ready.
Oh, and just another quick little note I had on somebody mentioned the Hanson twins.
That was me.
Slapshot.
I've never seen the movie. I was trying.
I think he said Hanson
And
triplets.
then somebody
I said
somebody
twins.
corrected it
was
with
Nate,
triplets.
Another guy that hasn't seen the movie.
And they're not triplets. They're 3 different. Okay, I'm getting off on tangents.
They're 3 different actors.
No, they're not. They're
brothers.
brothers. They're not actually triplets.
They're not actually triplets.
I think I might have said triplets in the initial pod, and it's
Okay.
It's snowballed from there.
So going into my scoring system for the week, the categories: the Scotch Beck, oh yeah factor. Oh yeah.
Late on the draw, but we'll cut that. It'll sound perfect.
A little editing on that. And that is just my overall. I see the pick. Did it make me, instantly think, hell yeah, that's a great pick? Did it make me say, oh yeah? Oh yeah. Oh, shit. It's so nice to have that used.
Such a mistake to give us that.
Hey, Scott, what do you think about, underage drinking?
Oh yeah.
Hey, Scott, what do you think about the California breaking into a bunch of different states?
Oh yeah.
God damn, Scott.
Oh God, yeah. Controversial.
We should have a spin-off pod just called the Scott Beck Aw Yeah Pod. Or just for an hour, we just ask obnoxious questions, and Scott goes, "Aw yeah."
So good. Okay. What was interesting about this one also, the most of the drafts I've judged so far have been most memorable, and this one is actually funniest. So that's a little bit of a tiny wrinkle in, because there's a scene that might be super memorable, but this one I totally went, was it funny? Did it make me laugh? When I thought about it, did I laugh out loud? So that was kind of an interesting little wrinkle that I kind of thought about when I judged. The second category was this Scotch Beck aw shit factor, which was, oh shit, I should have thought of that. I don't like looking up lists, seeing what Thrillist says or whatever. I just because I like to go into this, I make my list based on what I can think of, because I like being surprised, and I like giving those little bonus points for you guys coming up with something cool.
I was really hoping that had to do with poop sex.
Yeah, the Scott Beck aw shit is like, did I ever get shit on in this way?
How much fecal matter was
there was some poop sex talk earlier.
It's poop again
by Nick.
It's poop again factor.
I also noticed that you guys bring me in, for my expertise on certain subjects, like, bands and things I might know about.
Drugs and sex.
Drugs.
Hilarious sex.
And funny sex.
Hey, sex, drugs, rock and roll. Isn't that what you are?
Right,
sex, drugs, rock and roll.
Like,
you're the epitome of that.
Like, who has a lot of experience with funny sex?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so good to be back. So then, of course, we got Scotcher's list. One of these days, I'll be able to say that without slurring.
That was good.
It's better. My list that I came up with, I gave bonus points if you guys picked the same. A few new categories. Thanks for the memories.
In the corner of my eye.
So, did the pick bring up a happy memory from the past? Like, do I remember that movie? Was it one that I
a happy memory?
remember?
Happy memory.
Did he wear out that VHS as we talked about earlier?
Did it instantly go into my mental masturbation Rolodex? I don't know. Or was there just some good nudity in it? So I don't know. That was kind of the category on that one. Awkward boner.
Ooh.
Would this be a weird date movie? Like if you're sitting in the theater and the scene comes up and
that gets extra points or negative points?
Well, extra point.
Oh, I was looking up for me.
Yeah. Or I really shouldn't have been turned on, but I was. So that's the awkward boner. bonus point. And then the other one is, and this one I thought I might have to use again. It had a possible negative point, but it's also the YouTube save. So it's a combination. So the YouTube save, you get bonus points if I hadn't seen it, and then
But bonus points if you hadn't seen it, but you watched it.
But I watched it and I laughed it,
Okay.
and I liked it. So that's the YouTube save. But also, it's another acronym for you, the SAVTD, which is sweet, another virus. Thanks, dicks. Which means I had to fucking
dig deep.
search on like a weird site. I thought maybe I had to look up something that YouTube won't show because they won't show certain things. So I'd have to go to doggystyle.com or whatever.
Yeah. Something that'll show puppets
Right.
shitting on each other. Yeah.
Right. So I don't think I gave any negative points. I did have trouble finding one particular scene, but I'll go into that later.
Okay.
So going into it, American Pie chair dance scene, just classic scene. It wasn't the first one I thought of from that movie, but it's definitely, I mean, there's two main hilarious scenes from that. That was a very important scene from that movie was so huge. Everybody talked about that scene, and it's just kind of weird to see, like, I rewatched that recently, and it's like, oh shit, they had kind of the internet back then with the whole webcam. So that was like the early webcam shit.
Yeah.
So very, very cool.
Hey, Scott, did you know there was this band from Houston that had a song on the American Pie 2 soundtrack?
I was just about to ask if we got negative points for picking that because they didn't put your song on the movie.
Well, way to bring up that shit. We are on the soundtrack, and we are in the credits. And it's American Pie 2 that we were.
Right.
But yeah, no. And of course, American Pie 2 actually had some
Which was a
funny
big
scenes
deal
as well. Yeah, and it, talk about an amazing memory is just that whole us being on that soundtrack. But yeah, we weren't in the movie. We were told we were in the movie by somebody at the fucking record company.
You were in the chicken coop when we just discussed it, and it's a fucking awesome story.
And then talk about blue balls, right?
Can't wait to listen. So, okay, moving on. Bridesmaids. I hate to say it, but I have not seen the movie.
Oh, shit.
But I did watch the clip, and holy shit, John.
That's so good.
So fucking good. So funny.
There was a couple good lines.
Oh, God. Really funny. Really, really good. Okay, American Psycho is a reach in the first round.
Did you watch it, though?
I've seen the movie. I know the movie.
Hilarious,
Don't
right?
look at her ass. Eat it. I didn't need to look up the clip. It's amazing. He's fucking. He's flexing in the mirror.
It's so funny.
It's
him
so
flexing.
great. It is great. I just thought it was a reach in round one. And I mean, talk about awkward boner. That's
Exactly.
So
Bonus
you did,
points.
You did get a bonus
Yeah.
point. So anyway,
To be fair, I thought it was a reach in the first round, too.
I mean, so my wife is constantly talking about how hot Christian Bale is in that movie, and it creeps me out. I got to be honest. I'm like, do you have some sort of weird serial killer fantasy?
I love. At some point on the last on the Crazy Stupid Love pod, you said, "Babe, what do you want me to do to you?" When you were talking about her love of Christian Bale in American Psycho.
I still don't know the answer to that.
oh God, MacGruber. Holy shit. I mean, I haven't seen the movie in a long time, and I looked up the clip, and God, I laughed so hard. So good. The music. You got what's that band's name? Mr. Oh my God. Once it
Broken
starts,
Wings.
and then once the music cuts out, he's making the sounds. Oh, great. Okay. American Pie. This going backwards. So the fifth pick. American Pie, the pie.
That was your one of one from American Pie?
Well, that's the first thing I thought of, just because that was like, the posters, they're holding the pie and the whole thing. And it's kind of like the first thing I thought of. But either one, I think, they're both really good, solid picks. Trainwreck, had not seen, watched it, laughed a lot.
So funny. Right?
So good. So good. John Cena says some amazing
Fucking hilarious.
shit. You look like a dude. Really, really good. Monty Python and the Meaning of Life, I have seen, which I don't know how many other people have, because of all the Monty Python movies, that's one that's not really mentioned that often. And that scene is weird, and I haven't watched it in a long time, but it's definitely a very memorable scene from my youth. I saw it as a kid, and I remember thinking, "Oh, okay, that's weird." And hey, there's boobs in this movie.
Boobs.
Yeah,
British boobs.
I probably watched that movie way too young, but so yeah, that actually got more points than you probably think that it would. Wedding Crashers Under the Table. I couldn't believe I didn't think of this one. Talk about an amazing, hilarious scene. Vince Vaughn is so good.
So good.
When he's trying to talk.
Holy shirts and shorts.
It just feels so good when he's joking.
Such a good pick. And I think that pick stole that round personally. Naked Gun Body Condom, that whole the whole thing leading up to it, that song,
That montage,
the montage
is great.
is so good. And
Clotheslining the other couple on the beach is just so stupid.
Ending with this fucking body condoms is so good. Hot Shots, again, another hilarious scene. I love that movie. And I don't think people talk about Hot Shots that much, and I think it's really
At the time,
underrated.
it was pure gold.
Yeah,
I mean,
so good.
I remember that being one of the like pioneering, really, really good spoofs of a genre.
So good, yeah. So yeah, I love that whole scene, frying the egg on her belly, and all that shit. So good. Wolf of Wall Street, haven't seen it.
Wow.
I know. Had a hard time finding the clip.
I had to find it on YouPorn.
Okay.
I'm not joking.
Yeah.
It's on there.
I didn't get there. But I did find a couple other scenes, and the scene that I did find that I did laugh a lot at was when she's tantalizing him and got her legs spread. And
Yeah.
a little
It's a great scene.
hidden camera, which is really fun.
But I didn't
funny.
pick that because and I explained this earlier because there's no actual sex act in the scene, but it's so
straight
funny.
up. But yeah, no, I didn't want to give you 0 points, so I gave you some points, and I didn't know
Thanks.
this was your team.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, we the charade is
When you
no longer.
when you said I hadn't seen any of the movies from one team, I was like, oh, well, there you go.
Well, it was American Psycho that gave it away.
We called that 100%.
The minute I saw it, I knew it was your team. So,
It's fair.
yeah. Team America, that is one of the funniest scenes. This is probably Brad's team because it's puppets. And
Probably.
That's my favorite pick. Probably that was my one of one when I thought of
Wow.
this category because it's just I don't think I laughed harder than when I saw that
When you first
when
see
I
it.
first saw it. Oh my god, so great! And what was kind of fun about that one is we actually watched that movie. My brother, for Thanksgiving, we were at a beach house last year, and we watched it with his kids who are 21 and. Yeah, I think she was 17. So,
Oh, wow.
And holy shit, they was like looking at us like, what the hell is this? But
They were
liked
not.
it.
Oh, they were laughing.
Oh, yeah, they
Oh,
liked
I
it a
thought you
lot.
meant they were sitting there like, why are these guys thinking
No,
that?
they
that's
like
good.
so it was fun to share that
Oh,
with them.
that's awesome.
And just seeing the faces, like at first they're like, what the hell's going on? And then they start laughing. Sorry, Tim, for telling everybody that you feel that to your kid. Scary Movie. That is an amazing scene. Also, pretty weird. Fucking blowing them across the room. So good. And then so Mike and Dave. Did not see Mike and Dave also, but I did watch the scene and it was pretty good. Sorry, buddy, I didn't get you that win this week. I know I told you I was going to get it to you.
I had no illusions of grandeur.
Your wife's going to hate me.
No,
just Zach.
she's just gonna hate Zach.
Got to understand how this works, guys.
Okay, so whoever picked Showgirls in this last round, that was one of my favorite picks of the draft because that scene is so amazingly ridiculous and so funny when it's really not trying to be
and
funny.
played straight. Yeah,
It's not-
exactly.
it's not
They're
supposed to
not
be.
going for comedy.
Her sex move is her move. She does it in the strip club earlier in the movie. She does that same move. It's like that's her thing. She thinks it's sexy. So she does it on the lap dance to Kyle MacLachlan in the strip club first. And then when they get in this pool, she pulls it out again in the swimming pool. And anybody who hasn't seen that movie, I don't blame you. Don't. But there is a scene, and you need to look it up on YouTube right now. And I think it's called like the best scene in the movie. And it's got Robert Davi, who was the owner of the strip club or whatever. They had this whole relationship that was very combative or whatever. But him and this other lady from the strip club come see her after she's made it big in their show or whatever. And it's like this really touching moment. And it's so great because like he's like, dude, you did good, kid. You know,
Yeah.
She finally got his respect. He's walking away. He stops, he turns around, he's like, must be weird not having anybody come on you. Oh my God. It's just amazing. And it's so straight and it's not supposed to be funny. But it's brilliant. So
It's a nice way to end a touching conversation.
Yeah,
That is
so good.
funny. And she was like, you're right.
Yeah.
It is.
I say that to essentially anyone I mentor.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
As
you
my
get a new
partner
hire, they
works.
make it through their first year, and you'd be like, hey, good job, kid.
Must be nice not to have anybody come on me.
So good. And then whoever stole something about Mary at the last pick of the draft, that's an amazing pick for. It's an iconic scene. I was in the theater watching that, and the place was going fucking insane. Everybody's laughing their asses off. They got on the poster, they got her hair up, so it's like that image is tied to it. So that just kind of cemented that as probably the best.
And the Sears catalog.
If only someone
Squishes it right as he comes.
I mean, it's a great pick. If only someone had sex in the scene, that
So
fucking.
I was
legitimate.
gonna ask, like, was there boundaries? Was there,
We set nothing.
Okay.
Nate
I
decided
asked
to just
a number of
It was
questions
brought up.
early, and they all were sure that my questions meant that I was preparing for a losing draft, and so they let me do anything I wanted. And I was
right,
we'll see how that
because
worked out.
it was assumed sex scene would mean it involves multiple people. But
I still don't think he has a chance at first, but it was a good try.
and I think that sex is widely interpreted in different ways.
In my opinion, I think if there is an ejaculation,
Thank you.
then that constitutes
All
that
right.
sex.
It's one of the
in
things
my
that-
opinion.
One of the things
it's very male centric of you, but I'll generally agree with the spirit of it.
one of the things that
There's
Nate-
just not enough female orgasms, solo orgasms.
If somebody
film.
picked it a female orgasm, I would be all for it.
one of the things that Nate says a lot is that sex is a flat circle, and he kind of just rubs his fingers together. Like,
Yeah, I do say that a lot.
Yeah.
I've never said that.
there was one we did. There was
Very
one we
true
did not talk
detective.
about. Going back to allowing the masturbation, which I didn't put on my list, but Cameron Diaz with the dude from There Will Be Blood, not There Will Be Blood, from
Daniel
Day-Lewis and
Paul
No
Dano?
Country for Old Men. The bad
Javier
Javier
Bardem.
Bardem?
Javier Bardem and
Oh
Cameron
my
Diaz.
God! In the accountant.
Yes, where she like crotch rubs on his window.
It's one of the weirdest, grossest, sexiest scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it's like
I've never seen that movie.
it's horrifying and total turn on, equal parts at the same
Well,
time.
in his
It's
description, because
just-
he's telling the story, and then like they're showing like the flashbacks to it, and he's telling the story, and his narration of the story is actually pretty damn funny.
Is that the Ben Affleck movie?
no, this is it's Brad Pitt.
It's a horrible- it's a
is
bad
it Javier
movie.
Bardem?
Yeah,
It's not.
it's Javier Bardem.
Okay, Cameron Diaz and then someone else, and
It's
it's.
a rough.
Nate is not sure Brad is correct.
I don't think he's right.
I'm 100% correct.
I'm going to stay out of this one. I'm 1 for 3 tonight.
We got a lot of Scrabble disputes. A lot of going to the dictionary.
Called a lot of Scott. You missed it, but I called a lot of people out on being wrong.
Oh,
I was
a lot of
only right
bullshit.
once.
I love it. I have a couple. You guys may have mentioned this in your also rans. Ones that I thought of. Wet Hot American Summer.
No, God, good one.
Bradley Cooper, and Michael Ian.
You know what's funny too is I almost went on a little like tirade about how there's not like where are all the funny gay sex scenes.
That's one.
And I
keep their socks
because I
on.
was like,
They keep
I
their
haven't watched a
socks
lot,
on.
but that one I remember.
there's not that many gay sex scenes in film, right? So like they can't afford to have one be funny and like make light of it, but apparently they can, and we just missed it.
Yeah, that anybody who has not seen that movie, which I don't know how many, the cast of that, and if you're a Paul Rudd fan, I mean,
some of Paul Rudd's best
I've seen it.
acting.
So that was one too. I mean, again, propped up by nostalgia because that was one where they had a series that came out, right? That was Wet Hot American Summer.
They
and
had
my-
a movie,
movie.
and a series. They
right.
had
So my
both.
wife and I were like, "Oh, this new series, Wet Hot American Summer. Like we've never seen the movie. Maybe we'll watch the movie and then we'll watch the series." And so we watched the movie, and the movie ended, and we were like, "Not gonna fucking watch that show."
yeah,
Okay.
substances that you put in your body might help with that movie. As
Oh,
far
okay.
as,
Okay.
altering your mind would greatly help with that film. So, not saying
we talked about that earlier with the sausage party.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad said he got perfectly high to watch the movie and then quit watching it in 10 minutes. I said, you were not high enough.
Not perfectly high.
Another one I thought of, this is for Brad, Animal House, when they're in the car, which I know you remember because you haven't seen that movie.
I might.
Now, is he the only one that just admitted he hasn't seen the movie? Have you guys all seen Animal House?
I've never seen it.
You haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's been
I
a
might
really
have seen
long
it. It's been
time.
a long time.
Great.
Oh, look at all these guys all of a sudden owning up. Scotch Beck calls them on and they're like, oh, I kind of watched it.
I kind of sent some bullshit during that discussion. You guys need to watch fucking Animal House. But anyway, there's a great scene where he's out in the car, and I won't even describe it. It's really good. And then Grandma's Boy.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that.
Grandma's Boy.
Yeah.
It's,
What? Yeah, what part?
So he's a video game tester. I love the movie. Again, it's stupid. It's better the more you watch it.
Yeah.
But the scene where he's jerking off to the Laura Croft doll in the bathroom, and the guy, he's staying at his buddy's house,
And he turns around on the mom.
The mom walks in.
Oh.
And he accidentally jerks off.
It feels so good.
I can't stop. It feels so good. It's an amazing.
It was Nick Swartzen's mom.
Nick
Right.
Swartzen.
Yeah.
So anyway, those are
Classic
some that I
character.
thought about. So the final.
Those are
count.
good. We didn't mention any of those.
Can we just take a quick second before we get and just talk about how hot the pixelated Laura Croft was back in the day? I mean, Scott, what do you think about it?
Well, Scott, what do you think about, grandma's getting jerked off on?
Oh yeah.
That wasn't even the sound effect. That was just.
I mean, I was about to do it. I go for the button. Don't judge me for my internet habits.
Oh, I have this just like shitty, terrible feeling in the pit of my stomach that Nick's going to win another time, like 3 in a row right now. He's going to be
That just sunk in, huh? That wasn't the lactose in your
God.
beer.
It could have been.
So keep in mind, now, you guys didn't put parameters on this, so I did judge, solo, so maybe those got some better points. And that's basically, if you guys gave me parameters, then I would judge accordingly. If you said that it needs to be 2 people, then I would take points off.
No such. I clarified that no such boundaries.
Okay.
Were put on
Here
the
we go.
draft.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so last place, not really big surprise. Team 3.
We can do it.
Oh, Zach. You know what? We love you anyway.
Hey,
He participated.
I tried.
I need to get like a stack of like purple participation ribbons.
No,
Like,
And then that way I can just give it.
This
to
is what it
Zach
is.
every time.
I absolutely.
Down the team.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we have team 3 was the American Psycho, Christian Bale, 2 hookers. If I go through these teams, I kind of put some like little I kind of shorthanded it, so some of them are going to sound a little interesting. Trainwreck, we got Amy Schumer, John Cena, Wolf of Wall Street, Leo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, 11 Second Sex, and Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, Kumail Nanjiani, massage sex scene.
So I will say that all this is proving my losses the past however many months is just proving to me that I need to stop drafting for what I really think, and I need to just start thinking about what the judge is going to like, and I'll just be like, that time when Bob and Doug had crazy homosexual sex.
Hey! I'm just saying, Zach. You know what? If you stay true to yourself, I think your fans out there are going to be like, you know what? That's what we want, Zach.
You're gonna be like,
We want you to stay true to yourself.
please sell out. I want to know what it looks like when Zach Washburn
Those
sells out.
wins will be so much more pure when you actually win, because
It's like they'll count for double, and so
but
you'll
guys,
only
I
be behind
mean,
by
You
17.
just won, didn't you?
selfishly, I just want to get laid again. I mean, it's been weeks. Babe, I'm trying.
Oh man.
Okay, the top 3 was really close.
How distant of a fourth was I?
Do I have to say it?
He's not answering.
You only lost by 10 points
Oh my God, but there was only like 20 possible.
to 3rd place.
Yeah.
All right, 3rd place, Team 2.
Team 2 had Bridesmaids, John Hamm and Kristen Wiig, Monty Python, The Meaning of Life, sex education scene, Hot Shots, 9.5 Weeks, sex scene with eggs and bacon, and Showgirls, Elizabeth Berkley, Kyle MacLachlan.
And again, I really loved a couple of those picks, especially the Showgirls one. But I also had to kind of keep in mind something else. It was kind of almost a little tiebreaker was popularity of the movies or were the movies good. So I kind of threw that little wrinkle in there at the end when I was having a hard time really deciding who won.
That's a death knell for Bradley down there.
That was Brad's team?
Damn.
That was Brad's team.
Damn.
I thought that was the only one that was going to come close to Nick.
I'm back. It's me and Nick again. It's back. It's
I don't think you have a chance, Nate.
It's the duo.
It's the Lakers and the
again.
Celtics. It's the Giants, Dodgers.
Front runners.
What everyone knew would come.
There's
going to
be some questions about like farmer cooperation or like payola or something like that. If Nate happens to
payola,
because I'm a little concerned here.
This one was really tough. I went back and forth.
And back.
1 point separated these two teams.
Give it to me.
Second place, Team 4.
Yeah!
That would be Team 4 had MacGruber, Kristen Wiig, Will Forte, American Pie, Jim and the Apple Pie, Team America, the Puppet Sex, and Scary Movie, the Super Pubes and Cum Blast.
That means
Super pubes and
don't just try and sneak that in there, Brad.
I'm telling you, I shorthanded it. And that might have been influential.
Scary Movie and Cum Blast.
And I knew exactly what scene it was by that description.
Super pubes.
So why don't you read
Team 1?
Under American
Team
Psycho,
1.
did you write winning pick in parentheses?
Why don't you read Team 1's
Team 1, American Pie, Jim Chair Dance Striptease, Wedding Crashers, Isla Fisher jerks off Vince Vaughn under the table, Naked Gun, Full Body Condoms, and There's Something About Mary jerk scene and hair gel.
I think that's a killer team, but the Naked Gun loses it for me.
Oh, no, there's not a weak pick in the bunch.
The Full Body Condoms is just a very simple joke. It's
iconic and is the first.
I mean, they throw on the Full Body Condoms and it's funny. I don't know. I would have chosen Team 4 here.
That team's I mean, Nate's team's a killer. I think the first pick of Shannon Elizabeth's scene in American Pie is just the ultimate funny sex scene in a movie, I think.
There were just a couple of really iconic scenes and just big movies that were very important to me. The American Pie, Wedding Crashers, again, an amazing theater experience.
Yeah.
And that scene in particular, I remember the fucking place going crazy.
Oh, yeah. I took my buddy Arjuna on his wedding day to see that. It was opening Wedding Crasher. It was like the opening weekend for Wedding Crashers, and I took him to see that as the the end of The Bachelor the night before. And we died laughing. We laughed all the way.
It's too bad MacGruber didn't get bigger because it's the shit that happens in MacGruber, because you have seen it.
We might have to just
recently watched it.
I have
maybe
you just recently
6 to 8 months ago. Yeah,
I have not seen it.
You haven't.
Oh.
I mean, okay.
It's
absurdity.
So funny.
Yeah,
times
it's
700.
Anchorman turned up to 50. I feel like they turned it up to 11 or whatever you said.
They did.
Yeah, I swear this thing was down to almost like a tiebreaker, and I had a hard time deciding between the two, and it was just literally MacGruber wasn't quite as big.
It came down to
and
MacGruber.
same
I feel like
and
Scary Movie lost
Scary
it.
Movie was one that lost it.
Agreed.
So would Step Brothers in this urinal scene, would that have overtaken that would have been a better Scary Movie?
That would have been a better pick.
You know, one we never talked about is the Veronica Corningstone and
I thought about that one. I forgot to write
Pleasure
it down.
Town.
Yeah.
Pleasure Town.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Scott, did you ever see a fish called Wanda?
I have not seen the whole movie.
All right, there's the Kevin Kline, Jamie Lee Curtis sex scene it was almost my last pick, and I think it would have been one of those YouTube, you watch it, it's funny as fuck.
So
we're tied, Nate.
You still
5 and 5, yeah.
The best thing about Nate winning is the fact that it gives me the chance to win next week and just be right there back with y'all. 5.
It does give you that chance, Brad. It does, or it does.
Rather than Nick being 6
6,
and then he's 2 ahead.
So damn close to 6.
So now you know what? This actually kind of works out for me.
I just feel like things are right in the universe again. I feel like we've
Scott's back. Nate's winning.
Back. Yeah, it's like everything's clicking.
Nate winning on technicality that he kind of sets up at the beginning.
Exactly.
Like, you could just be jerking off, and that counts as a sex scene, right?
I gave you guys the chance to set some limits, and you guys chose to let me run wild. You gave me all my weapons, and I used them. I'm just going to say
Why didn't you guys use jerk off scenes?
That's what I'm talking about.
We're not.
We didn't know you were so into jerk off scenes.
Hey, am I into jerking off? Oh, yeah.
Guys,
thanks, Scott.
Scott, thank you so much for coming down and judging all of us and just being especially harsh on me. I appreciate that. It's just I'm building calluses in places I've never had calluses, but
his heart.
And the word on the street is that he's coming back next week.
That's where I was going with this. What is coming up, boys?
Can I lay it out?
Well, I mean, I think it's my lead, right?
What does it mean? Is it your lead? Are you because you're hosting or something?
I did you plan the whole fucking Christmas month?
No, I just thought we could.
He gets the jack off thing, and now he's hosting.
God damn!
Jack off all over next pick.
Nate wants to lay out the whole month.
I won, so I get.
So you just want to you're all about the solo. Just you. It's your show. Go ahead and beat off.
Yeah. Like I'm the one that's in focus on the T-shirt. Am I wrong?
We're all out of focus on that T-shirt.
No, go ahead. Go ahead and tell us about next week, and then I'll tell us about the rest of the month. Go ahead, Brad.
We're going to jerk out together.
Look at the big brain on Brad.
Look me in the eyes. Look me in the eyes.
He is. You guys are staring at each other very contentiously right now. I'm scared. I feel like my parents are arguing.
Things got weird.
Next week we're doing Christmas vacation.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
To start our Christmas celebration, our whole full-long, month-long celebration, and our draft category is going to be most dysfunctional family.
I thought it was going to be most annoying,
dysfunctional, family,
funny, whatever it is.
Family member,
extended family. So we normally have like kind of rotated through picks on Bevs to this point, but we decided that the holiday season called for us for a team effort, and so we kind of came up with a team slate of 4 movies to release for the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas.
And by team, Nate means he. Nate means he.
Means I made it up and I told these guys this is what we're doing. So we're doing, and then we divided up the hosting duties so they could feel like they were participating in the pod still. But
it feels good.
It feels good.
So we've got.
Thanks, Nate.
So what's the lineup? You know what? You guys are just living in my world here. You're drinking my beer. You're sitting on my patio.
You can't throw it back to us and ask what the lineup is. You're the one telling everyone the lineup. Tell us what we got coming up.
Yeah, that was rhetorical. So the lineup is Christmas Vacation, and the draft is the most annoying extended family, followed up by the absolute Christmas classic, Die Hard, which Nikki's going to host.
Love it.
And
I love the draft category.
Okay, so what did we settle on for that?
It's best tagline after a killing, after a murder.
I thought we just
after killing somebody.
I just thought it was just a cheesy. It was like the cheesiest
cheesy action movie. One.
Did it have to be after a kill?
That's a lot of words. It's best one-liner after a kill.
Or
in a movie,
or an action.
We'll get back to you on this.
or an action as like an action, like a movement.
You say something funny after doing an action.
I think it's going to be pretty deep with just kills.
That's a deep draft,
and then that's just in Schwarzenegger movies alone.
Exactly.
You could probably do a whole draft. So
he lost his head.
All right,
stick around.
And then we've got a loaded week, Christmas week 3, which is I'm going to host Love Actually.
Ooh,
which is a great rom-com, a classic Christmas movie, and we're going to be drinking with Brad's wife, Melissa, who she and I have bonded for years over our mutual love of Love Actually and Brad's disdain.
Mocked them incessantly about their love for this movie.
And then we're going to have a draft that is the most memorable romantic gesture in movies. And my college roommate and an actor who's been in a bunch of great stuff named Cliff Chamberlain is going to come on. He's going to be the judge for that. He's also going to talk a little bit about Love Actually and his love for the movie in that pod. And then we're going to round it out the week before Christmas. We're going to close it out with Zach doing Home Alone.
One of the greatest Christmas movies of all time about a kid setting traps in his house.
And
real quick on that note, has anybody seen the preview for like the reboot of Home Alone?
I refuse to watch it.
I did.
I honestly, we saw it and my wife was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
Never. I won't.
Terrible. They've already done a reboot. There was a Home Alone 3
with some other
4,
with the non-Macaulay
Yeah.
Culkin. Now this one's like it looks really.
I had a little bit of hope because the kid is from Jojo Rabbit. He's his buddy.
Oh, that's who it is? Is the Jojo Rabbit kid?
Yeah, his friend. I'm thinking.
The chunkier kid.
Little chunky kid.
Yeah, he's really funny
he's
too.
So funny in that movie. So I thought, well, maybe with his acting, it might be okay. But I saw the trailer and it doesn't look good.
Funny story about Jojo Rabbit very quickly is I have a coworker that came to me and said, "Oh, I watched the movie Jojo Rabbit, loved it." And this is spoiler filled. If you haven't seen Jojo Rabbit, turn this off right now. But this guy comes to me and he's like, "I watched that movie Jojo Rabbit, I loved it." And I was like, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah." And I was talking about the scene where he finds his mom that hanging from the thing and he's hugging the shoes and he's like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I didn't know that was his mom." And I was like, "Bro, did you watch the fucking movie?"
Like, you don't give a shit about ScarJo like I do.
So she just left the movie?
No joke. He had no idea. And he's like, "I got to watch that shit again." And he loved it.
Dude, I mean, your love for ScarJo was just like...
Dude, it was crazy.
You
I was
tears.
like, "Bro, you need to watch this movie again." Because
you had the sad Kleenex out at that point.
I like, yeah. ScarJo gives me both types of Kleenex.
All right. And so with that, we'll move on to the final draft where our kids will be coming on. So the final,
Good segue.
The final episode before Christmas is going to be the best children's Christmas movies.
I'm so excited to have our kids on.
And we're going to have a whole just parade our children through and exploit them for the our general pursuits here on Bev. So it's gonna be great.
We're gonna intersperse exactly. I was just about to say we're gonna intersperse yeahs in their completely inappropriate moments.
So that's it. That's the rest of the year. We're gonna take the week off. We're not gonna release between Christmas and New Year's, and then we're gonna kick things off hot in the new year. So stay tuned for what
2022 is gonna be a gigantic.
It's gonna be. We're gonna come out of the gate real
podcast.
fast. Yeah.
We're not gonna release any pods, but there will be some releases.
Oh, it's reached that point in the night, fellas.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome back, Scotty.
Hell yeah.
Feels good to be here.
Bye-bye.
I wanna be at Beverly's, bringing me home with my movies. Just a blind ride, no reason why. I love this scene. Nick Nate, I can brag, your favorite podcast. Let's start